Hello and welcome to this short training presentation on SAGE research methods for Stellenbosch University. My name's Chloe Turner and I'm the library trainer here at SAGE Publishing. And if you have any questions after watching this recording, you can contact me on my email address chloe.turner@sagepub.co.uk and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. SAGE Research Methods is a database completely dedicated to the subject area of research methods. We do support a wide variety of disciplines on the platform, from arts and humanities, social sciences, science, technology and engineering. It supports all stages of the research process, from writing a research question, conducting a literature review, choosing the best research methods, analysing your data, and writing up and thinking about publication. You can access the platform by clicking on the link at the bottom of the blue box. Just a note on the content. So we launched our first module for SAGE research methods way back in 2011, and there wasn't really anything like it available to the library market. So we really wanted to make sure that we got a good database with content that people would actually use. So we consulted widely with researchers and faculty members who teach on a broad range of disciplines and research methods courses so that they could assist us with selecting the content and making sure that we got good academically rigorous resources that people would want to use. Equally, any new content or updates that we make to the platform, the content is checked for quality by experts. So you can feel confident in using the resources on the database in your own research projects. At Stellenbosch University, you have access to our SAGE Research Methods core module, which is probably the most popular module amongst our customers around the world. In this module, you're getting a really wide variety of content, including just over 1,000 books and reference materials. And the books come in 5 categories, which are books, ebooks, full digital versions of print text. We also have handbooks, which offer a more comprehensive coverage of a specific research method subject area. We then also have our little blue books and little green books, which are special to SAGE in that they take one particular research method concept and give you a really thorough introduction to that. So they're about the size of a chapter that you would usually find in a larger textbook on research methods. Little blue books cover qualitative research methods and little green books cover quantitative research methods. We also have our major works, which are volumes of curated book and journal content, where we've commissioned a well-known author or editor in that field to pull together all of the seminal pieces on a particular topic. So, for example, we have a major work on qualitative research methods. So if you could want to know, or you could possibly need to know about qualitative research methods, that might be a really good place to get started. We also have our reference material, which comes in 2 categories: dictionaries, which are usually between 1 and 2 short sentences to a few short paragraphs long, and they really just provide the key definitions and key pieces of information that will get you familiar with a particular topic. Our encyclopedias are still short and manageable, but are slightly longer and provide a bit more background context, maybe some of the key authors and key thinkers that have used that particular research methods in their own projects. Also within SAGE Research Methods Core, you get around 390-ish individual journal articles and just over 75 videos. But we'll have a look at more of this content as we go through onto the live platform demonstration. And here's the direct link again, which is just a prompt for me to switch over to my browser. So hopefully everyone now should be able to see my screen. And this is the SAGE Research Methods homepage. It's a really simple URL. methods.sagepub.com. So I would recommend that you might want to bookmark that in your favourites, or perhaps if you're a librarian, you might want to include that in a subject guide to signpost your students to the database, or if you're faculty, you may want to include this in a reading list. However, all of the content we make discoverable through your library catalogue and any common discovery layers that you may be using, and also discoverable through common search engines such as Bing and Google as well. So no matter where you might usually begin your search for library resources, you should be able to find content from the SAGE Research Methods database. Now, there are a couple of ways that you might get started, but I would recommend we're starting with some of these browsing options. And we give you 3 options here. So you can browse by topic, by discipline, and by content type. Browsing by topic, if you click on any of these links, is going to take you through to one of our research tools called the Methods Map, which we'll cover in more detail later on in the presentation. But essentially, it's an introductory tool that explores the relationships between different research methods concepts and helps you understand where they fit into the wider research methods process. We also have the option to browse by discipline. So if you were studying or researching in any of these particular areas, you may want to click on any of these links. So we'll go with nursing as an example. And this will take you through to a list of search results that will help you get started in your study. Is that we display all of the SAGE Research Methods collection, regardless of whether it's part of your current subscription. So if you are seeing any items in your kind of main search results list here in the center of the screen with a sort of purple padlock icon in the top right hand corner here, if you click into the content available to me filter here on the right hand side, this will get rid of any of those search results that are outside of your subscription, so that everything in this list is something that you can access in the full text. Just something to be aware of. Another small difference is if I just go back to the home page and go to my browse menu, the third option here is the ability to browse by content type. So as some of these content types are outside of your subscription, you may not see some of these in the list. So data sets and cases may not appear there, or you may have a little sort of grey padlock icon next to the title. And again, that's just telling you that that is a content type outside of your current subscription. So maybe you can explore those options later on when you go to look for your own resources. Another difference would be that you may have your university logo here, or just Stellenbosch University. And again, that's a way of you seeing visually that you've authenticated correctly and are able to access the full text of the content within the SAGE Research Methods core module. And I hope that's all okay in terms of how that works with your access. If there are any questions about what you have access to and what it looks like, please feel free to put them to me in the chat and I'll address those a bit later on. So if you knew that you wanted to find a video, one of the 75 videos that you have, you can click on videos as a content type, and this is going to show you a list of all the videos available to you. So my laptop is set up for all the content, but if you are seeing any with the padlock icon, just click in the box here and that will just give you the 75 videos that you're entitled to in that list. So again, just some really quick ways of getting to content using the browse options there. However, most people are probably going to have a fairly good idea of what they're interested in. And I'm just going to go with interviews as my keyword search term, mainly because I think most people are aware of what that is as a data collection method and what that involves. So you can see that as I'm typing, I get a number of suggestions. So this just shows me the types of resources that will be returned to me when I've run my keyword search term. So I'll just run my search straight up now for interviews by clicking on the magnifying glass button there. and then it will open this new page for me to display my search results that contain my keyword search term of interviews. So in the middle of the screen, you've got all your search results, and you can see the type of content it is by the sort of little icon just beneath the kind of image of the cover page of the book. And then you can scan through that list and see if any of those might be useful for you in your project. We'll just have a look at one of these resource pages, and I'll just go with the second one here, just a random choice. So this is the Sage Handbook of Interview Research. And as you can see here, I've landed on what I would call the electronic contents page of the book. So at the moment, you can see if I scan through here, these are all links that will take me through to the full text of that particular chapter. So we can see that this one's covering interviewing in context, so the history, different methods of interviewing, so interview styles, logistics, so actually how to set that up in practice, looking at how to manage yourself and the relationship between your research participant, and analysing the interview. So it looks like it's got sort of everything that might be involved in the process of actually doing the interview to answer your research question with your research participants. So what you can do is scan through the chapters and see if you want to look at those. If you were wanting to look at this one, probably internet interviewing, which is sort of our online research methods are probably going to be commonly used as we find ourselves in this global pandemic. So if you wanted to look at the chapter internet interviewing, you can click on it there, and there you can see that you've got the full text. So you can get to the full text that way. Alternatively, if I just go back to the contents page of the book, you can see towards the top that we have this feature here called Find in this book. So this allows you to search for a keyword that you may have in mind across the full text of all the chapters contained just within this book. So if I knew that I wanted to find out about how to actually analyze my interview data after I transcribed it and done all the kind of face-to-face or online interviews with my research participants, I can type my keyword in here, click on search, and we can see where your keyword is occurring the most. So in chapter 24, qualitative interviewing and grounded theory analysis, we can see that the word analysis occurs 69 times. So that might be a good indication that chapter 24 might be a really great starting point for me if I wanted to find out more about different interview analysis techniques. So if I click on chapter 24 now, this will take me through to the full text, and we can see if I just scroll down slowly here that in the main body of the full text that it's highlighted my keyword for me in that sort of nice purple colour. So if I go really quickly, I can see where my keyword has clustered in a chapter, in a paragraph. And then I can scan that paragraph and make a really quick decision as to whether that might be useful for me and what I'm trying to learn about in terms of interview data analysis. Obviously, if this was a print book, you wouldn't be able to run that sort of find in this book option, so that might take you a little bit longer. So hopefully one of the benefits of having these resources available to you online. So you can see here that I've got access to the full text of this chapter on the screen. So someone asked about reading these online. However, you also have the option here when you're on the chapter to download it as a PDF too. So if I click on download PDF, this will then open up a new tab in my internet browser. And we can see that this is loading, and here we've now got the PDF. So at this point you can download the chapter and save that to your computer desktop or memory stick. Maybe you're like me. When I was at university, I like to organise my PDFs and documents into different folders around different topics or essays that I might be working on. Or you can also print it off if you prefer to make handwritten notes or annotations. And as I mentioned, those PDFs don't delete themselves, so you can keep them for as long as you may want them or need them for whatever you're working on. So hopefully we've given you a range of options depending on what you want to do with the resource or how you prefer to study with your library materials. To the right of the chapter title, we also have a number of interactivity icons. So the first one is cite. So if you wanted to know how to reference or cite the chapter that you're currently looking at, this is a really great starting point. So we support 5 common referencing styles, which are APA, Chicago, Harvard, MLA and AMA. So if you were using Harvard, for example, you can select Harvard. You can see that the reference there just switched up to be in the Harvard style. So you can then just really easily copy and paste that into the reference list of your essay or assignment, and that will give you the key building blocks that you would need to get started with your Harvard reference. We also, if I just sort of scroll a bit to the bottom of that screen, see if I can, I don't think I can, oops. You can see that I also have the option to export references to a number of citation management softwares. So if you were managing a larger number of references, you may want to download the reference into that software so you can manage it alongside other references that you may have from other resources. So if I was using RefWorks, I can select that from the list here and then just click on open, and that will download the reference for chapter 24 into RefWorks, and I can then put it and use it however I usually would with the references in that program. The second option here is the ability to share. So if you were running a search on behalf of a colleague or wanted to share that with a student for their own research, you may want to put in their contact information here and click on send. And then that's going to email them a direct link, so this link here, to the chapter that you want to recommend to them. That will be sent to them as an email that they can just click on and then go straight to the full text of chapter 24. If you were so inclined, we also have a number of options to share resources via social media as well. So the second option here is the list feature, and it's just one that I skipped over quickly. And you can see at the moment that when I click on it, it's asking me, have you created a personal profile? So at Stellenbosch University, you have access to the Sage Research Methods core module and the content types within that we looked at on the PowerPoint slide earlier. However, there are a couple of extra things that you can do on the platform as an individual to sort of personalize or customize your experience, I suppose. And one of these includes the ability to create your own lists of resources around a particular theme or research methods topic. So there's a number of potential applications of this, but first I'll just show you how to get started. So to create your own lists, you will first need to create a personal profile on the Sage Research Methods platform. And you can do this using your sort of Stellenbosch University credentials, or you can use a personal email, so maybe Gmail or Hotmail, but this won't automatically have been done for you with your Stellenbosch credentials. You will have to set this up manually. So to do this, you need to click on Profile here, and then Create Profile from the bottom of that small window. This will then take you through to a new page here where you'll just be asked to enter a little bit of information about yourself to get set up. And when you've done, just click on Save, and then your profile will be ready to use. I'm just going to log in with my own quickly though, just so I can show you how this list feature works in practice. So just bear with me whilst this loads. Okay, so you can see now that I'm on the same chapter page, and instead of having the green profile button, it now says logged in my profile. So that's how I can see that the platform has picked me up as that individual user. And now when I click on list, instead of prompting me to create a profile or log in, it's now giving me a few more options to work with. So I can add this chapter to an existing reading list. So these are ones here that I've just made during other customer training sessions, or I can create a brand new one. So not very imaginatively. I'm just going to call this one Stellenbosch University, but you can call it anything you like. So it may be, you know, interview analysis or any other topic that you may be working on. And then just going to set that to private so that only people or individuals I share the list with will be able to view it. And then if I just click on create, I'll get this little message here to tell me that my list has been created. And then to view any of those lists, I just need to go to my profile here at the top, then click on my reading lists from the drop down menu, which will then take me through to this new page here, where I can then view any of the lists that I've created. And we can see here that Stellenbosch University is at the top as the list that I've been working on most recently. And if I just go to view details, we can see there, if I just scroll down, that this is the chapter that I just added to that list. So you can see, if I just scroll down quickly here on my reading lists page, that I've got quite a few that I've been working on since I joined Sage 3 years ago. So you can create as many lists as you like on different topics, and you can also add as many resources to one list as well. So it's really flexible and easy depending on how you might like to organise your lists. So as a student or researcher gathering resources for your own research project, you may want to create lists of resources around different topics or themes. I always found it difficult to remember what I'd already looked at when I was studying. Sometimes I'd read something a few times and I'd be like, oh, this sounds familiar. So if you can add it to a list, hopefully that will avoid that duplication of effort. And it also, I think, helps to organise your thoughts a little bit as well. So that's one application. If you have teaching responsibilities as part of your role, you may want to create a list of resources on a topic to share with a group of students. And that's also something you may want to do here as well. So there's a number of potential ways that this might be useful for you. What you can do when you've completed your list as well is we've got some options here. The one that I'll show you though is share. So I showed you that you could share an individual resource when we were on the chapter page here, but you can also share entire lists. So if your list, has got 10 books on it, rather than having to share each book chapter individually, you can just share one list with those 10 books on, so that your recipient or student is only getting one link to click on. And you can put in their information there to then be and then click on send to send them that link. So just something to be aware of if that's what you wanted to be working on. So I'll just pause there again and just check in. Are there any questions in the chat box that I can answer?
Yes, Chloe, there was one question. Sorry, now I'm just, someone wants to know if Sage indexes normal journal papers, which gives a great description of a particular method, but also presents empirical data, results, etc.
I'm not. So we do index the journal articles, the individual journal articles that are part of the Sage Research Methods collection in the library catalogue, but I'm not quite sure that I fully understand the rest of the question.
Maybe Mr. Williams can unmute himself and talk to you.
Yeah, please.
Personally.
Yeah.
Hi, Chloe, Garth here.
Hi.
So so what I'm looking for is I mean, so you might be able to find a method using a normal, say, Web of Science or Scopus search. Mm-hmm. So I was just curious if there's, say, a niche method that's not indexed or curated on Sage, or are there niche methods that you are curating by also looking at a more empirical paper which includes a good description of the method, or does that not really get indexed in Sage? So you'd have to find it on Scopus or another source.
I think it really depends. I think it really depends on the sort of method that you're interested in looking for. I know that we do have quite a wide coverage, and we do index our methods. But if it wasn't something that we covered on Sage Research Methods, yes, of course, do use other resources to find something that's a bit more niche. But we do have quite a wide coverage of methods, so I would recommend just having a search for that and seeing if it's something that we do cover. I don't know if that helps. Does that help?
Yeah, no, I think between the various search engines, one could find what you're looking for. I just was curious to see whether Sage itself indexes sort of, let's call them hybrid papers. But I'm covered, so it's fine. Thanks.
Okay. Sorry if I'm not completely understanding your question, but I hope that we've sort of met somewhere in the middle. Are there any other questions in the chat box that I can answer?
Okay, yes. Garth also asked, when sharing content, will the recipient also need to have Sage access? And I assume that is correct, unless you make a copy or a PDF copy and send that to the person.
Yes, so they would need to have a login or be part of a member institution that has Sage Research Methods. So if they were a student or someone at Stellenbosch, obviously you've got access that way. If you were trying to send it to someone outside of the university, obviously they would need to have access to Sage Research Methods through their own university affiliations. I mean, it's entirely possible for you to share PDFs outside of the institution. However, it's part of the licensing that you signed up to agree with that is that you don't share your content outside of the university or with someone that doesn't have access to it. But if you did send a link, they would need to authenticate using their Stellenbosch University credentials, or maybe if you're just sharing resources with a colleague at a different institution, they would also need to have Sage Research Methods as well.
Thank you, Chloe. Yes, of course, I shouldn't have said that. There's another question about how Stellenbosch University students log in for free to Sage. I can just answer that. There is a link on the library website on our database A to Z list. There is a link to Sage Research Methods online. So you can just go via that link and you will have access to Sage.
Yep.
And then there's another question here. What process does Sage use to select authors, especially for newly developed methods?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So we have an editorial team who look at the content for the Sage Research Methods core module, and that's updated usually with around 50 to 75 new textbooks every year. So when we renew when we update the content in 2021, as long as you have an active subscription during that time, you will get that update. But in terms of how we select new content, I don't have a lot of information about that because that's sort of something our editorial team work on. But usually we sort of base it on methods that maybe we need to update. So if there's like a first edition of a book, we may look at including the second edition just to sort of refresh the content. We may also include new and upcoming methods. So just as an example, things like social media research methods have really emerged in the last sort of 5 to 10 years of people making use of that medium to do their research. So we've included a lot of books on that particular method as well. But in terms of authors, it's not so much about the authors, but more about the methods that we think could do with updating, or maybe new methods that are sort of emerging as being popular. or some needs that we haven't really covered before. So if someone wasn't quite clear from the content we had already how to do a particular type of data analysis, we might look at resources that we might commission originally or to include that cover that in finer detail. So it's more about refreshing and keeping the content up to date rather than selecting a particular author, if that makes sense. But if you want any more information about sort of how we select that content, I can certainly put you in touch with someone from our editorial team, but that's sort of the top level answer that I can give about how we select content to update the collection.
Thank you, Chloe. Those are all the questions for now.
Okay. So great, thanks for those. I'll just refresh. So we looked at creating reading lists, and I just clicked on the Sage Research Methods logo here, which took me back to the home page. So if you ever want to refresh your search, you can just click on that link there and to bring you back here as a starting point. So I just now want to look at some of the ways that you might kind of filter down to some of your specific content. So I'm just going to search now for interviews again, just to get back the list of search results that I had before. And we can see just at the top, if I look at the numbers, that we've just got over 15,000 results that contain my keyword search term of interviews. So this is obviously quite a lot of results to be working through, but we do provide some useful filters here for you on the right hand side that will help you sort of narrow down and focus the number of results you're seeing in your central list here. So you can search within your results for a keyword using the filter here, and you can also use the content available to me filter to get rid of any content that's not part of your current subscription, as we've already looked at. We also have, if I start at the bottom, our publication date filter. So this allows you to choose a date range from when your resources were published in. So if I just go, let's go with 2012 to 2020. That will just give us content that's been published in the last 8 years. We can also choose a discipline. So if I just expand this menu here, you can see if you sort of scan through that list that these are the same options that we gave you to browse by from the home page here. We've also included them as filters that you may want to use after you've run your own keyword search term as well. And we also have the content type filter here. So these are ways of getting to a specific content type that contains your keyword search term. So if we just spend a bit of time looking at these, so we've got books covered for you in the Sage Research Methods core module. So we've already covered that these come in these 5 different categories. So you can filter down by a specific book content type. Also, we've got the reference, which are those kind of quick entries, quick and short entries that just cover the sort of top level information. We also have a number of journal articles as well. And if I just scroll down a little bit further in the box here, we also have 75 videos available to you as part of the Sage Research Methods core. So to demonstrate a video page and how to apply the filters, if you just select all option at the top, that will then get rid of all the ticks out of those check boxes. And then if you scroll down slowly and then just click into video, this will just bring back videos that contain your keyword search term of interview. So I'm getting, obviously I'm getting videos that are within our other collection. So I'm just going to see if I can find one that I know is going to be part of your collection. I don't know if I'm going to find one, but I'll carry on. See, if not, I might just open a random one. Yeah, I'm not seeing any on this first page, so I'll just go with this random one here. The video pages all look fairly similar. So on this page, you'll get the video pane or window in the middle here. That's your video screen. And then just to the right hand side, you've got a video transcript. So this is word for word what the author here is going to be discussing in this video. So if I just press play, I'll mute it from my end. But you can see that as the author is talking and the video is scrolling through, that this follows along automatically with where the author is talking in the video. So I think that just makes it really easy and accessible for different user groups to sort of keep up to date with where you are in the video. So something just to be aware of that we've enabled. The videos themselves are streaming only, so you do need to have an internet connection to be able to watch them. However, you can download a PDF copy of the transcript, and that works in the same way as we saw with the book chapter. So I'll just open that up. We can see that in action. We can see there that that's the video transcript, and you can download that and print it as we did with the chapter. The transcript also acts as a navigation tool, so we can search for interview within the chapter, within the transcript, and you can see there as I scroll through all the places where that occurs. So we can see that it's talked about quite a lot here. So if you want to jump to a particular section, if you click on that yellow segment, that will then jump the video to that section at 17 minutes 47 to be on the bit that you sort of want it to start from. So you don't have to start from the beginning and watch the whole thing just to get to the most relevant sections of that video. To the right of the video title, you've also got some of these similar looking interactivity options that we saw on the book chapter page. So you can get a citation for a video, add a video to a list and share it as well. But we also have a couple of extra ones here, and for individual researchers this may not be so relevant, but if you have teaching responsibilities and use a virtual learning environment or learning management system to sort of store your course information or reading lists or guides or anything like that, we have a few options here that allow you to embed video content into any of those environments that you may be using. So the embed option here allows you to copy and paste a small piece of embed code that will embed that video in your virtual learning environment or learning management system, essentially so that your students don't have to click on a link and then be redirected to a different space to watch the video. They can watch the video embedded just in that one environment if that's how you might want to manage your resources. And there's just a screenshot here from the Canvas virtual learning environment that just gives you an idea of what that could look like. The link feature here also allows you to link to this page directly with a permalink. So for the teaching staff and librarians on the call, we have an administration area for the product where you can enter in your proxy information, and then that will pre-populate this URL with that proxy ID, so that if you copy and paste that link directly into a resource, it's automatically going to redirect your students to your proxy login page, so they can log in with their Stellenbosch University ID and then be taken to this video page. So it overcomes that problem of having to authenticate first and then try and find the video. It will just take them straight to that page after they've logged in via your kind of usual proxy login page layout. So hopefully just a few options that might make it accessing that video and sharing that video just that little bit easier. To the bottom of the videos as well, we also have this really nice option here called Create Clip. So this allows you to grab a section, your own selection from a full-length video here. So we can see that this video is 25 minutes and 12 seconds long, but it's likely that there might just be a small section that you want to quote to maybe use in your project or your own independent project, or perhaps if you do have teaching responsibilities that you want to share with a group of students. Now, if you want to create your own video clips, you will need to create a profile or make sure you're logged in. So we've already logged in from when we created the reading list. But if you want to log in first and then click on create clip below the full length video, it will then open up to show you a few options here. So you'll notice now that I've got these sliders. So when I drag these, you'll notice that these start and end times will automatically update to reflect the section of video that I have selected. So I've got a 3-minute 57-second clip there, so just a random selection. But when you're happy with your selection, you can then just click on save here, which will give you the option to save your clip to an area called My Clips, which is essentially just a reading list for any video clips that you create, or you can save it straight to a list. So if I click on list, I'll search for the Stellenbosch University list that I made just a little bit earlier. Click on that there and say add. And now we can see that my message has appeared to tell me that my video clip has been added to the Stellenbosch University reading list. So if I then want to view my updated reading list, I just need to go to my profile and then my reading lists. And we can see from there that we now have 2 resources. And if I just go to view details and scroll down, we can see there that I've got my video clip added to that reading list. And if I click on the clip title, this will take me through to a specially created page just for my clip. And we can see that we've got this sort of clip equals 174842. So that's just a kind of unique URL really for your clip. So you can just kind of copy and paste that link and share that with students. And with video clips, you have it all the same options as you did with the original full-length video. So you can add clips, you can cite clips, add clips to other lists if you want to, share clips, embed them, and get and generate a permalink for them as well with your proxy information. So really kind of great functionality if you prefer to just have the shorter clips to share. So just to recap, we ran our search for interviews from the homepage here and then applied some of the filters on the right hand side. They're all fairly straightforward, but I hope that that sort of quick walkthrough has just given you an idea about how they might actually be applied in practice. We've just got one section left of the presentation, but I just want to check in again and see if there's any questions in the chat box or if anyone wants to ask over the microphone.
Chloe, yes, there's one question that we are wondering about. I'm not quite sure what the our license agreement stipulates, but would interlibrary loans be allowed for content that we do not have access to? Yeah, on
Sage Research Methods?
Yes.
So
yes.
if another university had content outside of your subscription, could you get it through interlibrary loan?
That's right, yes.
That's a really good question. My initial answer would probably be no, because if another university has got that content, they've subscribed to it just for their sort of campuses, and you're not allowed to share content outside of the university anyway. So my answer would probably be no. And interlibrary loans tend to be for sort of book chapters or scans of book chapters or sort of journal articles. So that would be my immediate answer. But I can certainly check in more detail, but I think that probably covers most of those bases.
Yes. Okay, yes, I will also, because that is the kind of thing that is usually covered in the license agreement, but I will have to check that as well.
Yes, it's a really good question. I've never really been asked that. I've never really been asked that before. So it will be one of the finer details included in your license agreement. And if you were, say, requesting a content from the platform from another university that did have that module, it's likely to be part of their license agreement as well that they can't put it into interlibrary loan. But
yes,
it would be
yeah.
interesting to know the actual sort of ins and outs of that. So I will check with my colleague who might be able to help give me a more detailed answer for you on that one.
Okay, thank you. Then someone also just noticed that for the videos that we do not have access to, we can actually read the transcript of the videos.
Yeah.
But that is that downloadable? I checked quickly and it doesn't seem to be downloadable if it is not. Okay, so it's just
as
for
a
reading.
yeah, just out of interest, what I will do is if I go to a video, obviously my screen looks different for you, but on that video page that person's on, sorry I didn't catch the name of them, but is it are you getting like a sort of a watermark that says preview on the video? Maybe they can confirm that. I'll just open this random one here. Usually if a video is outside of your subscription, what you will see is you'll see the oh, this probably wasn't a very good example actually because it's a really short one. Hang on, let me find another one. No, that's a short one too. I would go and pick the short ones here, wouldn't I? I'm just looking at this is a 1 minute 55. This is a slightly better example. But usually if you land on a video that's outside of your subscription, what you'll see on the video pane is sort of preview written in big capital letters across the front. And you will be generally allowed to see sort of the first 30 seconds of that video. So what you might be seeing here is just like the first sort of 30 seconds of the transcript rather than the whole thing. If you are seeing the whole thing, I would be interested to know actually, because that probably shouldn't be happening. So if you are seeing more than sort of 30 seconds of the transcript, then let me know. But I think the PDF option should be grayed out for you, so it should be an inactive button. So maybe if the person who asked that question can confirm whether you see more than 30 seconds of the transcript, that would be useful to know.
Hi, that's me again.
Hi.
I might only have seen the transcript of the first 30 seconds. I can't say for sure if it's full. Probably not.
Okay. Yeah. So if you are seeing a more than 30 seconds of a video transcript outside of your subscription, do let me know because that might just be a bug that we've got. But yeah, you'll just see a little bit of it there because we just include it as like a preview. So mostly so you can just get an idea of what the video is covering. Are there any other questions?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So I'm just back on, or I should say thank you for your questions again. So we're just back on the Sage Research Methods homepage, and I just want to talk about some of the research tools that you have available at Stellenbosch. I always save these to the end because they're my favourite things on the platform. So you have access to 4 research tools here. So the first one I'll talk about quickly is reading lists. So you may remember that when I was setting up my Stellenbosch University reading list, that I had the option to choose between it being public or private. So if you choose to leave your reading list as public, this is an area contained as like a sub homepage on the platform where you can search for other publicly available reading lists. So basically anyone in the world that has a subscription to Sage Research Methods, if they choose to leave their reading list as public, this is where it will go. So you could go here to search and see reading lists that other people had created from different universities and organisations. You can search by name, creator, method or keywords. So do go here perhaps if you want to get some ideas and inspiration for your own lists, but do bear in mind that this isn't monitored or kind of anything by anyone at Sage, so it is just a bit of a mishmash, I suppose, of lists that have been made, but it might be something you want to have a look at if you were curious. We also have Which Stats Test, which if you're involved in kind of quantitative or statistical data. This is a quick series of maybe 5 or 6 questions that asks the researcher about their research data, and then by answering those questions will suggest a statistical test or method that it thinks might be the most appropriate for helping you start your data analysis. So I'll just skip through these quickly. I'll just answer them randomly. So we can see, what is the purpose of your analysis? I'm going to say to look for differences, then click on next. The next one here is, how many groups are you comparing to, or more than 2? So I'll say more than 2. Are my data groups matched or unmatched? No idea, so we'll say unmatched. What is your measurement level in your outcome variable? Again, I'll just guess and go nominal. And by answering 4 questions, it's now telling me that it thinks the chi-squared test will be the most useful for me to get started. So what you might want to do is copy that and go to the home page and then paste it into the search box, and then see if you're going to get any results that will help you learn more about the chi-squared test. So I think that's a really great tool if you're maybe baffled by what some of those statistical tests and methods do. And you can obviously use the content available to me tab just to get to content within your Sage Research Methods core subscription. So the next research tool that we'll look at then is the methods map. So we touched on this research tool at the beginning of this presentation. When I was talking about browsing by topic. So if you click on any of the links here from the browsing menu, it's going to take you through to its relevant page within the methods map research tool. So we can see at the moment we're at the top level, and in the green circle, this is where your kind of active concept will be displayed here. So essentially, Methods Map is a visual and interactive tool that allows researchers to click around and understand how different research methods concepts are related and where they fit into the wider research methods process. So it really breaks that down into detail and makes things a bit more manageable and understandable for students. So if I just go to view more, we can see that we've got a number of narrower terms that appear to the right hand side of your central concept there in the green circle. And if I just expand that out, you can see all of these sort of stages, if you scan around that circle, that are part of the research methods process. So if I was interested in, I'll just go with research design, you can see that that really nicely and clearly updates to be my central concept there in the green circle. And now on the left hand side, broader terms is populated with the term research methods. So I can really easily just click on the link there, and that will take me back to the topic that I was looking at previously. So it's really easy to navigate around. So now under narrower terms, you're getting different types or directions or research frameworks, I suppose, that you may want to use in your research project to sort of guide it along the way in your terms of your research design. And I've expanded those out, and we've got loads and loads of different options to look at that we may kind of want to investigate that might help us with our research question. So if I want to click on, let's click on Delphi method. You can see now, again, it updates to be my central concept here. And above each of the concepts, you get a little kind of definition of what that is. So it's really, really concise and easy to understand and read and digest, I suppose. It's not too overwhelming. So you can read that and see if that sounds like it might be useful or helpful for you in answering your research question. If it isn't, you can easily go back to research design, say view more, and see all the options that you had available to you previously. And then maybe you want to choose a different one. So I've just gone with case study research. And then again, you can read the definition there and see if that's sounds like something that might be useful. If it is, you may want to explore some of the other associated narrower terms, and also maybe look at how case study research might also be considered as a data collection method instead of just a research design framework. So you can see it's really easy to see how everything links and is fitting together. So you can use it on its own if you're just starting to understand the new and complex research methods terminology that you may be being taught about. However, we also make it really easy to link between different sections of the database. So you can see here that we've got a link that says search all content on case study research. So if you click on this link, it's going to take you through to some search results elsewhere on the platform, so other books and videos and journal articles that will help you learn more about case study research in detail. So instead of you having to run that search yourself, you can just click on that link and then you can see you've got a list of search results which you can work your way through to help build your knowledge and understanding further on that concept. And obviously you can apply some of those filters if you want to as well. So we try and make it as seamless as possible between different sections of the platform, sort of linking together. The last thing I'll show you then is our Project Planner research tool. So just reach by going Research Tools and then Project Planner. And Project Planner essentially is a research tool that walks the researcher through the research process from start to finish in logical steps. So we've got all of our research stages here down the left-hand side, and those are sort of in order in terms of how you might come across them in a typical project. It just sort of provides a research structure or framework and really helps break the research process down into much more manageable sections, and explains in kind of top level detail what you actually might need to actually do at each stage of that research process. So if I just click on research design again here, I'll just jump straight to that section, and we can see that in each of these sections we get a number of questions or considerations that a researcher might have to ask at that stage of research design in their project. So it says what is research design. So if I just expand that section out, we can see that we've got some quite detailed information there that may help me sort of get started. So we've got some different data collection methods, different research design types here, and then we've also got some links as well to designs that either are descriptive or exploratory. So you can read the entry on its own. This one's quite a short one, but it's also including a video. Not all of them have videos, but it makes it sort of all concise. And you can click on these links to either get to other search results or other sections within the Project Planner tool to again help build your knowledge and understanding and find related resources. Like with the video transcript and the book chapter, you can download each section as a PDF if you want to. And you can also get a citation for Project Planner entries, add them to lists and share them as well. So again, very similar to what we've seen so far. I'm just going to see if I can find another example in here. So this one is a shorter entry. Some of them are just text, but they shouldn't take more than sort of 10 to 15 minutes to read. I'll see if I can find an example. Yes, so some of them have these find out more links as well, just as another example of how sections are linked. So if I click on find out more to search for resources about qualitative data, this is going to take me through, like with how we saw with the case study research link from from Methods Map, this will take me through to different types of links that contain qualitative data as the keyword. So again, you can see how quick and easy it is and seamless the experience is when you're linking between different sections of the database. So Project Planner, I think, has so many potential applications. It's really great, I think, especially at the moment as we're all sort of working remotely and studying remotely. This could really be a great research tool for students who maybe just want to explore a bit more independently, or may not know or have access to a librarian or their supervisor as quickly as they might need the assistance. So they can go and maybe find the answer to their question in this research tool. They can also, if they're new to research methods, read it through from start to finish and hopefully use that as their framework. Equally, if you're a more advanced or confident researcher and you've maybe already done a research project before, you may just have a really focused or specific research challenge. So you can just dip in and out, as I've done, and select random sections or questions to look at. So do have a look at that if you are interested or want to. And I think that really brings me to the end of everything that I can show you today. I hope that's really given you a nice and concise overview and some ideas for how you might get started with your own research project, or in some ideas that you might use to run your own keyword search terms to find resources that might help you with a particular challenge that you're facing. We do have about 20 minutes left, so if anyone wants me to demonstrate a search for something that they're working on at the moment, or if they just have a more kind of general question, now's the time to put them to me. So are there any questions?
Chloe, no. At the moment, no questions. There is just, oh, sorry, I see one from someone who is struggling with creating a Sage account. Mr. Katukula, if you want to, you can contact me afterwards, or Chloe, or would you like to talk to her now?
Happy to help if you want to unmute your microphone and chat through the issue now, or you can send me a screenshot. That would also be helpful. Or again, as you say, speak to Naomi. Or
okay, he's just saying that he will contact us later.
Okay, cool.
And for the moment, there's no other questions, but I think I will just sum up everyone's response by quoting Garth Williams's comment about your presentation. He says, wow, this is a great presentation and also a really super tool for research, which I was only vaguely aware of before. Kudos to the presenter, and is also happy that the Stellenbosch Library set this up for our researchers. So yes, I think that is quite the sentiment of everyone listening to you this afternoon. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you everyone for your kind comments, and also for asking me some interesting and insightful questions. I always like to be challenged. The interlibrary loan one was interesting, so thank you for that. It's always surprising how I can work for Sage for 3 years and still be asked things that I don't know. So that's one of the great things I love about customer training. So what I'm going to do is, obviously this has been recorded. I did have a short slide deck as well, so I'll pass that on to Naomi, and you're welcome to send that on to anyone who may be interested to have it. Keep it for as long as you need as well to accompany the recording. That's absolutely fine. My email address is on those slides, so if anyone hasn't got it, just get it from there, and I'm always happy to receive questions via email.
Thank you very much. Yes, we will make sure that everyone gets the recording and your slides. Do we have any other questions? Anyway, you're welcome to mute your mic or unmute your mic and ask a question personally if you don't want to type it.
Sorry, just the question about where we'll be able to get a copy of this video. I might have missed it, but please, if you could just indicate that again.
It will be sent to everyone who attended this presentation this afternoon. So tomorrow I think Kirchner van Deventer can maybe just respond to that, but we usually send it out to everyone afterwards.
Yes, the immediate recording will be available afterwards, but I will also edit some of the recordings just to make sure that everything is streamlined and correct. And then we will upload all the recordings to our YouTube channel, and that will be made available eventually as well.
Okay, anything else? No, there does not seem to be any other questions. So, Chloe, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. It was a very good presentation. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Okay, and
Right.
yeah,
Right. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, guys, and thanks for coming. Speak to you soon.
okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.